I've spent 8 years building a life no one could touch. 8 years of skipped lunches, late nights, endless emails, and closing deals that made other people's jaws drop. My prize? A one-bedroom condo in Knoxville that smells faintly of pine cleaner and ambition. It's not big, it's not fancy, but it's mine. Every corner is mine. Every lock is mine. Every receipt is filed alphabetically and color-coded by month. And if anyone so much as thinks about leaving a stray key under the doormat, they're out of their minds. I'm Serena Blake, 34, a real estate agent with an uncanny ability to sniff out hidden fees faster than most people can spot a coffee stain on their white blouse. I pride myself on being exact, predictable, reliable, and yes, maybe a little paranoid. My condo isn't just a home, it's proof that discipline pays off. That independence is worth more than any family drama or misplaced sense of obligation. And yet, today, Christmas Day, everything I've built feels like a fragile crystal teetering on the edge of a countertop. I hear the doorbell before I see him, my brother, the one who still can't file his taxes on time, the one who thinks screaming is an acceptable form of negotiation. He barges in, dragging his kid behind him like some awkward parade float. "Serena, let us in! We need a place to stay!" he shouts, as if I were a hotel desk clerk with zero personal boundaries. I'm standing by the kitchen counter, gravy on my sleeve, a perfectly roasted turkey smoking in the oven, and I can't help but smile. Not the warm, cheerful kind. No, this is the smile of someone who knows the rules, knows the boundaries, and knows exactly how ridiculous this display is. "I'm not letting you move in," I say calmly, every syllable deliberate. "You know my condo rules. I don't do guests for more than 3 nights, and even then, you have to sign a waiver, fill out a cleaning schedule, and—" "I don't care about your rules," he roars, pounding the table until silverware jumps like startled frogs. "Your selfishness is insane. Your kid is sleeping on the floor, and you're worried about— what? Your precious little locks?" I dab at the gravy on my sleeve, unfazed. I've spent decades practicing this, staying calm while the world erupts around me. "I care about my boundaries," I correct him, my voice soft but cutting. "And yes, my locks are part of that. My home isn't a daycare, it's a sanctuary. If you want help, I can give you a list of affordable rentals nearby." He flares, his nostrils flaring like some cartoon villain about to melt. "Affordable rentals? You're rich. You don't understand. You're selfish?" I finish for him, because why let him get all the credit? Before he can respond, my parents enter the room. They stand there silent at first, hands folded, eyes trained like hawks, and then, in unison, they deliver the hammer. "We're done being your family." I blink, twice, maybe 3 times. I smile, not because I'm cruel, but because this is exactly what I expected. Predictable, melodramatic, family theatrics at their finest. I dab at the gravy again and step onto the tile, the cold floor grounding me as I let the silence hang. They want a reaction. Fine. I give them serenity, the kind that drives a person like my brother insane. "I understand," I say lightly, almost cheerfully. "Merry Christmas." They gape. He sputters. His kid looks confused, probably questioning every family Christmas he's ever known. I move through my condo like I own the air. Because I do. I open the fridge and pour myself a glass of wine. Red, bold, uncomplicated. I glance at the tree, the ornaments twinkling with the false promise of joy, and I think, maybe family isn't about proximity. Maybe it's about respect. And maybe, just maybe, it's about recognizing that some people are too toxic to include, no matter the season. Later, when the turkey is carved and the wine is poured again, alone this time, I allow myself a small victory dance in the living room. Not loud, not flamboyant, just me, reclaiming my space, reclaiming my life. Because the thing about independence is this: It doesn't come with strings, guilt trips, or expectations. It comes with the freedom to be yourself, even if that self is sharply aware, uncomfortably organized, and occasionally ruthless. And yet, as the evening stretches into night, I hear a knock at my door. My heart skips, not out of fear, but curiosity. Who would dare disturb my carefully curated solitude? Opening it, I find nothing. And yet, the envelope tucked under the mat isn't empty. A single piece of paper, handwriting jagged, hurried. "We're not done yet." I pick it up, read it twice. And that's when I realize being alone doesn't mean being safe. Not from the past, not from family, and certainly not from secrets that refuse to stay buried. I close the door, lock it twice, and sit back down. My condo is still my sanctuary. But for the first time in years, I feel a thrill of unease. And I like it. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: a Blake always comes prepared. The first thing I notice the morning after Christmas is the silence. Not the comforting silence of a home at peace, but the heavy, oppressive silence of abandonment. My condo, usually a sanctuary buzzing with reminders of order and accomplishment, feels empty. I pour myself coffee in the exact cup I've used for 8 years, the one with a tiny chip on the rim I pretend not to notice. It tastes bitter, but not enough to bother me. I'm used to bitter. The envelope from last night sits on the counter. I've stared at it all morning. The jagged handwriting mocks me, like someone testing whether I'll break. "We're not done yet," it says. 3 simple words that carry the weight of every argument, every accusation, every holiday meal turned battlefield. And yes, every moment my parents have ever whispered that I was too rigid, too controlling, too selfish. I should feel guilt. I should, but all I feel is calm. I start with the obvious, cleaning up the aftermath. Silverware on the floor, my brother's half-drunk soda can, a child's crayon scribbles on my otherwise pristine coffee table. I bleach, scrub, polish, rituals that restore order and in some way restore my soul. Cleaning isn't just practical, it's symbolic. My condo is mine. Everything in it is mine. And nothing in it moves without my consent. Later, as I unpack my leftover Christmas cookies into labeled containers, my phone vibrates. A text from an unknown number. "Serena, we need to talk. It's serious." My heart skips, not from fear, but because the cadence of life has just changed. Every instinct I have screams that family drama isn't over. This is escalation. I text back cautiously. "Who is this?" No reply. Typical. By noon, I've called the nearest cousin I tolerate. "Have you heard from Mom or Dad?" I ask. "Not since yesterday. Are you okay?" Her voice trembles. "We heard what happened. Honestly, Serena, I think they're serious." Serious. I raise an eyebrow. I've always known my parents' serious can mean anything from disownment to a passive-aggressive critique that leaves you questioning your life choices. I sip coffee again. Strong, bitter, exact. I think back to the day I bought this condo, 8 years of late nights, sacrifices, the precise calculation of every dollar. I think of every time I refused to bend, to compromise, to let people step over me. And I think, maybe today, my choices are finally paying off. Or maybe it's just the beginning. By evening, the reality sets in. They aren't coming back. No texts, no calls, no awkward knock-ons at the door with apologies. My brother isn't trying to reconcile. My parents are gone, at least in the way families can vanish without notice. The neighbors are curious, but I politely tell them I'm fine, savoring the moment I no longer need to explain myself to anyone. I make a mental checklist: groceries, bills, security system check, locks triple checked, wine. Check, 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 and check. Everything is in order. And yet, I can't shake the feeling that the envelope, the text, the silence, Something bigger is coming. Something that won't respect my meticulous systems, my schedules, my locks, my rules. The next day, curiosity gets the better of me. I drive to the neighborhood I know my brother rents a shabby apartment in. He isn't there. His child is at school. I knock on the door anyway, and a neighbor mutters, "He left. Pack your bags. Don't know when." I pause. My brother doesn't just leave. He abandons, disappears, vanishes. I return home, and that's when the calls start. Not from my family, but from clients, from colleagues, from strangers who somehow know I'm alone. One by one, I answer. Urgent emails, last-minute showings, emergency requests. The world doesn't stop because my family disowned me. And I like that. There's something comforting about the ordinary chaos of work. Predictable chaos. I can handle that. Later that night, I sit on my couch, a glass of wine in hand, reflecting. The tree still twinkles with fake cheer, the fire crackles with comforting warmth, and the condo, my fortress, feels both safe and eerily hollow. I let my mind wander back to my parents' words. "We're done being your family." Done. For a moment, I allow myself the tiniest pang of regret. Not for being independent, not for having boundaries, but for the fact that love often comes with strings I refuse to tie myself into. And then I remind myself, freedom has no strings. Independence has no chains. And I am, by any measure, free. But freedom is lonely, and loneliness is a problem I've learned to ignore. I distract myself by reorganizing the kitchen cabinets, alphabetically by item, then by frequency of use. Then I color code. By now it's midnight, and I've long lost track of the hours, lost track of the bitterness, lost track of the family chaos. All that matters is control. Control over my space, my life, my time. That's when I hear the knock. A slow, deliberate knock, like someone testing the walls, testing me. I freeze. Every instinct tells me, do not answer. Lock the door. Ignore it. But my curiosity, dangerous, insistent, wins. I approach cautiously, eyeing the peephole. No one. Just the envelope again. Slipped under the mat, neat, calculated. My heart pounds in a rhythm that doesn't match my normally precise life. I pick it up. Inside, a single sheet. "You think this is over? It's just beginning. We'll see how long your walls keep you safe." I stare. I reread. I check the locks. Triple checked. And then I realize, being cut off from family didn't make me weak. It made me prepared. Prepared for what? I don't know yet. But I'll find out. I pour another glass of wine. Red, bold, uncomplicated. I sit back, letting the silence envelop me, letting the candle flicker across the pristine countertops. The condo, my sanctuary, feels bigger somehow, stronger somehow. My family may have walked away, but I am still here. And for now, that's enough. But the envelope, that ominous warning, burns in my mind. Someone knows me. Someone knows exactly how to push boundaries I thought were unshakable. And deep down, I can't help but smile, just a little. Because if there's one thing I know, it's this. Serena Blake never backs down. Not from family, not from chaos, not from anyone. Tomorrow will come. And when it does, I'll be ready. The morning sun spills across my pristine hardwood floors, but it doesn't warm me. It only exposes the quiet aftermath of a life I thought I controlled. I sip my coffee, the bitterness clinging to my tongue like a reminder that freedom has its own flavor, strong, sharp, and slightly unsatisfying. My condo is quiet, too predictable. It's been 3 days since the envelope appeared. 3 days of checking locks, scanning the perimeter, and double-checking every security camera angle. Nothing. No one. No intruder. No trace of anyone who might challenge my sanctuary. Yet the feeling of being watched refuses to leave me. I should be proud. I should feel untouchable. But instead, I feel vulnerable. Vulnerability is not my friend. I've spent my life building walls, literal and figurative. My condo is one wall, the locks are another, and my meticulous habits form a third. But walls only work if the threat is obvious. What I'm dealing with now is invisible. I try to distract myself with work. Emails, listings, client calls, all the mundane chaos I usually crave. Yet even as I dive into spreadsheets and property details, I feel the pull of the unknown. That envelope was not a mistake. It was deliberate, calculated. Someone wants to test me, push me. And in doing so, they're shaking the very foundation I've spent years constructing. By mid-afternoon, my carefully curated routine fractures. A knock at the door, a real one this time, makes my heart lurch. I freeze, staring at the peephole, breathing shallow. I see a figure, unfamiliar, standing there. Tall, broad shoulders, hands shoved into the pockets of a long coat. The person doesn't move, doesn't speak, just waits. I consider ignoring it. Let them leave. But curiosity, a dangerous magnetic force, wins again. I open the door, careful, hand hovering near the deadbolt. "Ms. Blake?" The voice is calm, almost soothing. "I need to speak with you. It's urgent." I squint. This isn't a delivery. This isn't a neighbor checking in. This is someone who knows my name, who knows exactly where to find me. "I'm busy," I say, carefully keeping my tone neutral. "No one's coming in." "I won't come in," the stranger replies, holding up hands in a gesture of peace. "I just need a moment. It's about your family." Something in my chest tightens. My family? After everything? I want to slam the door, retreat, vanish into my fortress of solitude. But instead, I step back. "Talk," I say, cautiously. The stranger removes the hood. Familiar eyes stare back at me. Not my brothers, not my parents. A woman, maybe 30, her expression serious, eyes sharp. She holds a small envelope in one hand. "Who are you?" I ask, suspicion lacing my voice. "I'm someone who's been trying to get to you for days," she says. "Call me Morgan. I have information about your family, about why they walked away." I laugh, bitter and sharp. "And why should I trust a stranger? My family cut me off. I'm perfectly capable of handling my own affairs." Morgan tilts her head, unoffended by my defiance. "I don't expect trust. I expect attention. Just 5 minutes and I'll leave. That's it." Something in her calm confidence piques my curiosity. I step aside, letting her in, but only halfway. My locks remain unchanged. My boundaries remain. Morgan doesn't notice, or doesn't care. She sits on the edge of the sofa, envelope on the coffee table. "I know what your parents did," she begins. "I know why they abandoned you. And I know the danger they tried to protect you from, unknowingly." "Danger?" I echo, eyebrows raised. "They disowned me because I refused to let my brother move in. That's the extent of it. No danger, just their usual melodrama." Morgan shakes her head. "It's more than that. You've always been meticulous, careful, controlling. But even you aren't prepared for what they've been hiding." My pulse quickens. "Explain." She opens the envelope, pulling out a stack of documents, photographs, and what looks like handwritten notes. "Your parents were protecting you from something, someone dangerous. And now that they've cut ties, that protection is gone." I sit back, incredulous. Protection? My parents? From what? From who? Morgan leans forward, voice dropping. "From people who won't respect your walls, your locks, or your independence. From someone who knows every detail of your life and plans to use it against you. I feel a cold knot form in my stomach. My condo, my sanctuary, my fortress. It suddenly feels fragile, vulnerable, exposed. Why me? I whisper. Why now? Because, Morgan says, her gaze unwavering, you finally let them go. You finally drew a line. And lines attract attention, especially when someone wants what you have. I look around my condo, at the tidy counters, the polished surfaces, the color-coded shelves. Everything is in order. Everything is under my control. And yet, nothing feels safe anymore. Morgan stands, placing the envelope on the kitchen counter. Read it. Decide for yourself. But know this. Whatever happens next, you're on your own. I stare at the envelope, hands trembling slightly. I know that once I open it, nothing will be the same. Independence will no longer feel like freedom. It will feel like armor in a battlefield I never saw coming. I open it. Inside are photographs. My parents, my brother, even me, taken without knowledge. Notes on my routines, my work, my habits. Every detail I thought was private, documented. Every security measure, every lock, every code, known. My heart races. I've spent years building a life free from intrusion, free from chaos. And now, I see the fragility of it all. Morgan steps back. They tried to shield you from this, Serena, but they couldn't stop it forever. You need to decide, will you fight or will you retreat? I feel a surge of something familiar, anger, determination, clarity. I will not retreat. I will not let my walls crumble. But I know, deep down, that this is no longer just about independence. This is about survival. I glance at Morgan, who gives me a small nod and turns to leave. Remember, she says at the door, the envelope isn't a threat. It's a warning. Use it wisely. The door closes behind her. Silence returns. But it's different this time. The silence hums with possibility, with danger, with the undeniable knowledge that my life, my carefully curated life, is about to change forever. I sit down at the counter, envelope in hand, heart pounding. I read the notes again. My meticulous routines, my locks, my keys, they're all known. Every secret corner of my condo, every subtle habit, every time I thought I was careful, someone was watching. I take a deep breath. Red wine. A glass. My sanctuary feels less secure, but my resolve grows. If someone wants to challenge Serena Blake, they'll find out the hard way. I am prepared, calculated, relentless. Tomorrow, I start planning. I start defending. I start turning my vulnerability into strength. Because if there's one thing I know for certain, it's this. No one gets to break into my life and dictate the rules. Not family, not strangers, not threats and envelopes. Serena Blake doesn't break. Serena Blake adapts, and she always wins. The envelope sits on my kitchen counter like a silent predator. Its presence is constant, whispering reminders that my meticulously ordered world is no longer entirely mine. I've spent the morning pacing, coffee untouched, heart hammering, not from fear, but from a surge of clarity. It's time to act. I'm no longer just reacting. Serena Blake doesn't wait. Serena Blake plans. Serena Blake executes. I slide the envelope into my leather briefcase, the one I use for contracts and closings. It feels heavier than normal, as if it's absorbing my anxiety and amplifying it. I step out of the condo, locks checked 3 times, security cameras verified, and I drive into the heart of Knoxville. My first stop, the one person I can trust with raw information without judgment. My mentor, Richard, a retired real estate mogul with a penchant for espionage-level investigation techniques. He meets me at his office, a dusty, cluttered space filled with property models, filing cabinets, and the faint scent of old leather. "You look tense," Richard says, lighting a cigar that immediately fills the room with smoke. "And I don't mean work tension. This is personal." "Very personal," I reply, dropping the briefcase on his desk. I open it carefully and slide the documents toward him. Richard adjusts his glasses and begins scanning. Photographs, notes, handwritten schedules detailing my routines. "This is thorough," he mutters, eyebrows furrowed. "Someone's been watching you for a long time. Years, possibly." "Exactly," I say, voice tight. "And my parents, they knew. They protected me, somehow. But now I'm exposed. Completely." Richard leans back, puffing the cigar. Smoke curls toward the ceiling like a lazy warning. "Family secrets are tricky, Serena. Sometimes they protect. Sometimes they manipulate. Sometimes they hide things that are dangerous, things you're not ready to confront." I glance at him sharply. "Dangerous? Like what?" "Like people who don't respect walls," he says slowly. "People who track routines, who anticipate moves, who exploit weaknesses. The moment your parents stepped back, you became vulnerable, and someone noticed." I feel a chill creep down my spine. My condo, my sanctuary, my fortress. It suddenly feels like glass, fragile, transparent, and waiting for a hammer. Richard slides a folder across the desk. "This is what I could dig up in a day. Surveillance logs, property histories, even some financial irregularities tied to your family. It's incomplete, but it's a start." I study it meticulously. Everything is connected. My parents' sudden coldness, my brother's erratic behavior, the disownment. It's all part of a larger pattern. A pattern I never wanted to see, but one I can't ignore. Back at my condo, I begin strategizing. Every routine must be examined. Every lock, code, and security measure double-checked. I install new cameras, motion sensors, even a small panic room I'd always intended as a future investment. I go through my day as if the envelope had been a trigger, and indeed it was. The stakes are higher. The rules have changed. Then comes the first real surprise, a text message. "Meet me, midnight, Riverwalk Bridge, come alone." No name, no explanation, just an invitation, or a trap. I consider ignoring it. Rationally, I should. Emotionally, I can't. My curiosity is a double-edged sword, slicing through reason. I prepare meticulously. Outfit dark, phone fully charged, GPS live tracking, pepper spray discreetly tucked into my coat. Locks checked, windows secure. My car parked strategically for a quick exit. Everything as Serena Blake would do. Midnight arrives. The city is a quiet canvas, streetlights casting elongated shadows. I step onto the Riverwalk Bridge, the water below black and still. A figure emerges from the shadows. Tall, broad, confident. Not Morgan this time. Someone else. "Serena Blake," the figure says, voice clipped, almost military. "You don't know me, but I've been assigned to protect you." "Assigned?" I echo, suspicion sharp as a blade. Who are you?" "Call me Eli," he says. "You're in danger. Your family's past isn't what it seemed, and now that they've stepped away, someone else is moving in. Someone who knows exactly how to exploit your routines, your independence, everything about you." I take a step back. "And why would I trust you? Stranger danger seems very relevant right now." Eli smiles faintly, unamused. "Trust isn't required. Action is. You can continue hiding behind walls, locks, and perfection, or you can face the threat. Time is short." I narrow my eyes. And my parents? Were they just cowards? Or did they know something I didn't? "They knew," Eli says. "They protected you. But protection only works if the threat is monitored constantly. They couldn't do it forever. And now, he glances around the bridge as if the shadows themselves are listening. Now the threat is active. I feel a rush of adrenaline, equal parts fear and excitement. My carefully constructed independence feels suddenly irrelevant. My routines, locks, and precautions are simply starting points. And I realize, for the first time in years, I'm not in complete control. Eli hands me a small USB drive. Everything you need is here: surveillance logs, possible suspect profiles, safe houses, and escape routes. Learn it. Memorize it. And then, his gaze sharpens. Then you survive. I take it, weighing the weight of the device in my palm. It's small, inconspicuous, but inside it is the difference between safety and chaos, between my carefully curated life and a nightmare I didn't see coming. I walk home, the USB drive burning a hole in my coat pocket, heart pounding. My condo, once a sanctuary, suddenly feels like a stage set. Every corner, every lock, every camera is just scenery. I pour myself wine, red, bold, uncomplicated, but it tastes metallic tonight. Fear and anticipation mingling with it. Back in my living room, I spread the envelope's contents and the USB drive on the coffee table. The photographs, notes, and logs paint a picture I can barely comprehend. My parents weren't just ordinary protectors. They were guardians in a war I never knew existed. And now, that war is mine. I stare at my reflection in the polished glass of the sliding balcony door. My condo sparkles, ordered, perfect. But I see something in my eyes that isn't perfection. Determination, yes. Precision, absolutely. But also, fire. The fire of someone finally aware that the calm life they built is a battlefield in disguise. I sit, sip wine, and think. Tomorrow I start connecting the dots. Tomorrow, I learn who wants to dismantle me, piece by piece. Tomorrow, Serena Blake begins the transition from independent agent to strategist, survivor, and fighter. Because if there's one thing I know, it's that no one takes what's mine without consequences. The night deepens, the city sleeps, the Riverwalk Bridge feels like a memory, and my condo, my fortress, suddenly feels like the front line of a war I never asked for. But wars are meant to be fought. And Serena Blake? She doesn't just fight, she wins. The sun rises over Knoxville, casting a pale, determined light through my condo windows. It doesn't feel like a new day. It feels like the start of a campaign. I sip my coffee, black, bitter, precise, and scan the room. Every lock, every camera, every precaution feels insufficient now. The USB drive lies open on my counter. Maps, logs, surveillance data, and profiles spill out like a battlefield plan. It's not just information, it's strategy. Eli arrives mid-morning, unannounced but not unwelcome. He carries a duffel bag filled with equipment I didn't know I needed, but immediately recognize as essential: portable cameras, encrypted devices, and even a stun gun. I take it all in, calculating every use, every risk. "You ready?" Eli asks, voice calm but firm. "I've never been more ready," I reply. "Tell me everything." He lays out the situation. My parents' past protective actions weren't random. They were part of a careful containment of a dangerous individual connected to my family's history. Someone obsessed with control, wealth, and manipulation. The moment my parents withdrew, the threat escalated. Now, it's targeting me, my routines, my independence, even my emotional vulnerabilities. I process it all. My sanctuary, every wall, every lock, has been observed. My independence, my discipline, my life, has been studied like a blueprint. And if I make one mistake, the consequences could be catastrophic. "Then we start here," Eli says, pulling up a digital map on his tablet. "The first move is defensive. We secure your routes, identify potential entry points, and neutralize surveillance that isn't ours. We spend the day fortifying my condo. Cameras repositioned, new locks installed, sensors tested. I memorize every detail. My life now reduced to patterns, points of vulnerability, and strategies for survival. By evening, I feel the adrenaline buzz of a soldier preparing for battle. My condo, once my peaceful sanctuary, has transformed into a command center. Every photograph, every note, every careful calculation, every envelope is a piece of the puzzle I must solve. And now, I'm ready to confront it. Night falls. I slip into dark clothing, checking my weapon discreetly. Eli follows silently, observing, guiding, providing backup, but never taking control. This is my fight, my rules, my life. The first contact is subtle. A shadow outside my balcony, a reflection in the streetlight. I move like a predator, silent, precise, observing patterns, anticipating movement. Every breath is calculated, every heartbeat measured. Then the confrontation. A figure steps from the shadows. Not my brother, not Morgan, not Eli. The person I feared most, the orchestrator, the manipulator, revealed in the dim light. A stranger? No. Someone connected to my family's past, someone whose vendetta runs deeper than I imagined. You think you can hide behind locks, cameras, and perfection? The figure sneers. Your parents protected you once. Now, you're mine. I stand, unmoving, calculating. Not mine. Mine is the life I built. And no one takes it. The figure lunges, and instinct takes over. I move with precision, striking, evading, utilizing every bit of my mental and physical preparation. Eli assists, but the strategy, the execution, the control is all mine. Minutes feel like hours. The fight is tense, precise, controlled chaos. Every action, every reaction is calculated, and slowly, the figure falters. Their confidence wavers. My preparation, my discipline, my independence, they underestimated me. Finally, the threat is neutralized. The figure retreats into the night, leaving evidence behind. Digital footprints, notes, and confessions that reveal the tangled web connecting my family, my independence, and the danger I never saw coming. I breathe deeply, fully, feeling the weight of the past weeks settle. My condo, my sanctuary, still stands. Every lock, every camera, every carefully curated space, a testament not just to order, but to resilience, strategy, and survival. Eli looks at me, impressed, but says nothing. No words are needed. We've both seen what preparation, precision, and determination can achieve. And then, the final surprise. A call. My parents. Hesitant, cautious, full of emotion they can't quite articulate. Serena, my mother says, voice trembling. We see what you've done. What we couldn't protect you from, you faced alone. I pause. The old resentment, the old anger, the old bitterness, still there but tempered by understanding. You stepped away, I say simply, and I handled it, alone. Yes, my father interjects, and we were wrong to doubt you, wrong to disown you. We see now, you're stronger than any of us imagined. I take a deep breath. The reconciliation isn't instant. It isn't perfect, but it's real. I redefine family on my own terms, not blind loyalty, not obligation, but respect, trust, and boundaries. By morning, life begins to settle, not perfectly, but purposefully. My condo is quiet, my routines restored, my independence reaffirmed. But the difference now is profound. I know my strength, my resilience, and my ability to confront chaos head-on. I sip my coffee, black, bitter, precise. Outside, the city moves, unaware of the battle fought within a one-bedroom condo in Knoxville. Inside, I smile, not from relief, but from power. Serena Blake has faced her family, her past, and her enemies. And she has emerged victorious. Because independence isn't just about walls and locks, it's about courage, clarity, and the ability to redefine what family, life, and survival truly mean. And I am ready for whatever comes next.